Well, the information did come from inside. Some of the top consultants in Washington said we've got to look at this. And what the story is that Fannie and Freddie were the two mortgage giants. These are the two federal mortgage giants. Were suffering losses in 2008, 2009. Although I'm not even sure now that the losses were there. I think that might be a cover story too. At any rate, the federal government put through the Treasury $187 billion in notes into Fannie and Freddie. There's investors, there's private investors in Fannie and Freddie. And what we found out was that when Congress would not allow taxpayer money to go into paying the insurance subsidies in Obamacare, the Obama administration just put these two mortgage giants into a conservatorship and stole the money. The investors didn't get a penny. All the dividends, all the earnings, all the profits went into the Treasury, and the Treasury used the money to pay for Obamacare subsidy. Well, it's huge. I mean, this is $187 billion that was just stolen by the illegally taken. The administrative branch of the executive branch is not able to have taxing powers, and it can't just reallocate money that's supposed to go to private investors, which is the nature of Fannie and Freddie, steal that money from them, say you're not going to get paid anything. Your rights as a shareholder, we're going to ignore. And that money then comes into Treasury, and Treasury says, well, Congress told us we can't use taxpayer money to pay for the Obamacare subsidies. Obamacare's broke. So, in order to keep it from going bankrupt, we'll just steal this money. We'll just confiscate it from Fannie and Freddie and put it into Obamacare. Now, that also weakens Fannie and Freddie so that they're vulnerable should there be another financial downturn, because that money also should have gone to propping up the reserves of the two mortgage giants. It's a huge theft. And at the victims in this are the shareholders of Fannie and Freddie and the mortgage holders who are depending upon a strong Fannie and Freddie in the future, the capital needed to underwrite the mortgages in this country. And the Obama administration simply did this surreptitiously. I mean, it's taken us 2 years to really figure out what happened. And as we're now getting court cases proceeding, that's what my second article is about. We're getting documents. They tried to keep almost 11,000 documents. First, it was 50,000 documents. Now they're down to 11,000
So
documents. Well, the mainstream media is determined to run the story that Obamacare is successful, that people have gotten insurance that they need that wouldn't otherwise be insured. Now, what they aren't saying is that the exorbitant cost on others getting insurance, and in fact, the need to steal money from Fannie and Freddie, these two mortgage giants, in order to keep the insurance subsidies afloat. The truth is that Obamacare is already bankrupt and has been bankrupt.
and
It was rigged to fail from the very beginning. Obamacare was created to fail, and the fail safe was going to be the federal government comes in and takes over the entire healthcare industry. But the story here is that to take over the healthcare industry, they also took over the housing industry. They've also gone into Fannie and Freddie, which is are they based? It's in the lawsuit. I mean, you've got private investors out there who bought stock and are just being told, we're told by the Obama administration, you're not going to get anything in your stock because we confiscated it into the Treasury. And they lied. They were saying, well, we have to put a conservatorship here and take over the profits because Fannie and Freddie are failing.
you know,
I'm finding in the Twitter feed, or look at my Twitter, look at what's going on in Infowars, that now there are literally millions of people aware that the
no,
Obama,
no,
well, they're going to ignore this because, I mean, the Obama administration robbed the housing industry to keep afloat a failing healthcare. Well, I mean, I was the one who caught HSBC on their money laundering.
you're
They
the one.
cost a $1.9 billion fine. It was my stories that broke that. And here I'm saying we've got a major scandal and that the Obama administration has been risking putting the mortgage industry at financial peril in order to bail out an already bankrupt Obamacare program. And that, which is, I mean, it's criminal. You can't just take the investors' earnings away, the dividends away, and say, well, Treasury is just going to confiscate them. That's what Obama said. And to the risk of the mortgage market. I mean, Fannie and Freddie now are the pillars upon which our mortgage market depends. And by taking out, over $200 billion in profits from Fannie and Freddie, they've put Fannie and Freddie in a much more risky financial position than had that money gone to dividend payers.
Sure.
Well, I agree. I mean, this is outrageous. Congress specifically told Obama he could not use tax money in order to pay these Obamacare subsidies. The Obama administration had no way to pay them. So they start looking around. They figure, we've got this pot of money over in the mortgage Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and we can just go over and confiscate it. Legally, just take illegally, no law, no authorization, completely in violation of the Constitution, which does not allow the executive branch to begin to be its own taxing agent. And here Obama said, we're just going to secretly take this money under a ruse that Fannie and Freddie are. Well, in fact, I'm going to tell you that this story is just getting going. I mean, we're just beginning to get into it. It's very similar to what happened in the General Motors bankruptcy when Obama came in and confiscated the money of the subordinated debt holders who were first in line, really should have been first in line, instead of taking the stock, in which Obama did, giving it to the labor union and told subordinated debt holders who I know, or my friends in Wall Street, that they dared complain about it, they would never work in that business again. And that's how the Obama administration's operated. Now we know Obama confiscated the dividend earnings of the private shareholders of Fannie and Freddie and really diverted that money, confiscated it without authorization from Congress, diverted it to pay for Obamacare when Obamacare was going bankrupt on these insurance subsidies. Now, if that isn't entirely a set of criminal actions that ultimately involves Geithner and the other heads of Treasury when this was going on for between 2012 and 2016, and it's still going on today.
Wow,
I mean,
wow. Dr. Corsi, again, you are so prolific. It's great to have you on the team. I'm impressed. A couple articles a day, major scoops you give us. It's really incredible. Just overall, where do you see Trump at right now? I think he's over-delivering. I don't want to be some cheerleader or a bootlicker like Spin Magazine called it. I'm just very pleased to see somebody working their heart out like a lion to restore this republic. This is incredible.
I agree. I think he's done tremendously fulfilling his promises, and I think tonight's speech is going to be, from all the advanced word we're getting on it, is going to be a very solid speech on delivering on campaign promises. What's happening, though, is the Obama forces are out en masse, and this is a war. I mean, I'm going to be surprised tonight if there isn't heckling from the gallery, completely inappropriate behavior that the Democrats would have gone up in arms about had anything been done with Obama in his first speech, his first State of the Union. The key element here is that the Obamacare is at the crux of a lot of this. This was the government takeover, global government takeover vehicle. And now we know from the articles we've been able to produce here, which is really groundbreaking, and only InfoWars really covering the story. Because it's stealing from the average person in mortgages, the mortgage giants, which we depend on, stealing from the Fannie and Freddie, and also doing it such that the Obamacare was bankrupt and keeping that lie from the American people, disrespecting the investors in Fannie and Freddie. And this is going to be a big part of the speech tonight. I think Obama did not respect investment. He didn't respect small investor. You're going to see a turnaround where Donald Trump knows that the economy depends on small companies creating jobs and the small investor. This economy is not based on the gigantic billionaires. It's based upon the hundreds of millions of Americans who employ others, invest their money, buy properties, and Obama was undermining our health system and our housing system.
Sure, and looting it illegally. I mean, classical looting. Here's Joe Wilson at one of the State of the Union saying that Obama, again, was lying about saying that Obamacare wouldn't cover illegal aliens, which we later learned it did. So they demonized this like it was the worst thing on earth. They openly say they're planning 100 times this tonight. Here's Joe Wilson.
The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally.
And then, of course, we have Jonathan Gruber, one of the many clips, saying, thank God the American people are dumb and don't have attention spans. Here's that.
It's just, you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay? Transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever.
There you go. That's the arrogance. Really... So let's never forget that, Dr. Corsi. If you want to, you can pop in after the speech tonight. We're going to have a live event. We're having Roger Stone on as well.
Happy to. I'll be available all evening. And I think this is the whole Obamacare was based on a lie, and that lie now we know stole from the mortgages of the country, the mortgage giants and investors in Fannie and Freddie, and it's intolerable.
It's much worse than we ever knew. Congratulations on breaking the scandal. Thank you, sir.